Israel. General Anthony Tata joins us right now. General, thanks so much for being on with us. You know, we just heard former President Trump talk about how these attacks wouldn't have happened under him in regards to the fact that the Biden administration has, released the sanctions on Iran. They've given direct fundings, and they've also allowed the missile ban to expire. What is your take on it?
Well, I think all of that is absolutely right. The maximum pressure campaign that we had on Iran when I was performing the duties as Undersecretary of Defense and throughout the Trump administration was very, very effective. They didn't have the means to do what they're doing. They didn't have the means to even wage the type of war that they're waging through their proxies from Lebanon into Syria and Iraq and down in Yemen. And so the Arabian Peninsula right now is on fire because of the Biden administration's funding of Iran to do this, $6 billion for the 6 hostages, and then the not enforcing the sanctions and allowing them to trade oil with China, tens of billions of dollars. All that money goes into the means of war, and most of it does, and in funding of Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthi rebels, and even funding the Shahed 131, 136 drones that they're given to Russia to attack Ukraine. And so that's American dollars that have been paid for a lot of this. And it's right squarely on the shoulders of the Biden administration and this split policy that they're trying to have it both ways to curry favor in Dearborn, Michigan with Islamic voters and the progressive left, while also pretending to be supportive of Israel. This is what happens when you don't have a clear vision. You divide the American people to try to maintain your power, and you are not standing shoulder to shoulder with our allies, despite the slings and arrows that you take from within your own political party. This is about national security. It's about global security. It's about economic security. Think about the economic ramifications that can come out of this if this persists.
General, it's Griff Jenkins. We've been watching live pictures in Tel Aviv and elsewhere. We're seeing the defense systems, whether it's Iron Dome responding to these drones. We know that the U.S. has assisted in shooting down at least some of these drones. We've been hearing the sirens in Trey Ying's live shots. We know, of course, they also have the David Sling system, and then for much larger missiles, the Arrow system. How do you assess things as based on what you've seen now? Because this comes with the backdrop of a historic moment, an unprecedented attack. This is the first time Tehran has struck directly at Israel, and it appears they're going also not only in the northern areas like Golan Heights in the Negev Desert, but at major cities like Jerusalem, like Tel Aviv.
Hey, Griff, great to chat with you again. Yeah, sure. The David Sling has about a 90% success rate. The Patriot has far less than that, about 1 and 2. Iron Dome's about 80 to 90%. And then the Arrow 3 has a very high 98, 99% success rate. So the first 3, the Iron Dome, David Sling, and the Patriot are going to be shooting down those drones. If you have ballistic missiles coming in, that's the Arrow 3 that engages on that. And so you got a very capable military. The question is, with the IDF, the question is whether or not they have sufficient stockpiles to sustain defensive measures against swarming drones and swarming ballistic missiles over time. How deep do those stockpiles go? And remember, this administration a year ago made Israel give up a bunch of 155 artillery ammunition to Ukraine. And so Israel is very capable of defending itself. I've read that their cabinet has approved a very strong response. And so I think you might see some offensive measures here they're not going to be worrying about what the Biden administration is trying to tell them to do.
General, go ahead, Jason.
General, this is Jason Chaffetz. This was foreshadowed. It was telegraphed. You could see this coming. I mean, for a couple of days, we've actually been talking about this. How do you read that from a military standpoint? Did they doing that on purpose to lessen the actual blow so there isn't an escalation? Or is this perhaps a distraction so that perhaps there's another blow coming in another direction? How do you read that from a military standpoint?
Yeah, Jason, what I think is that, the intelligence was probably pretty good on this, particularly from Israel, and we have some sharing agreements with them, certainly. And once we made it public, once Israel made it public, I think Iran was put on the horns of a dilemma. Do they go ahead and do it, or do they not, or do they wait? And I think that they made, it's brinksmanship, and they made a decision, and it is good to hear that if it's true what they say, and you can never believe what they say, but if it's true that this is kind of their shot until something else happens, then that's refreshing. But what they've done is they poked the bear with the IDF and the cabinet there, and I think Israel sees, they haven't stopped, they haven't hesitated to go into Iran before when they destroyed a nuclear production facility several years ago. So what I see is Israel, taking the fight to Iran and given as good as they're getting right now.
Wow, General Tata, I have so many questions. I'm curious about how this new front with Iran, how that might affect how Israel is fighting the war in Gaza, if at all. But I guess just in general, I mean, I'm thinking about myself sitting, behind this desk on the couch at Fox and Friends over the last, year or two. And the idea of World War III, something we never thought we could be thinking about or talking about. How worried are you that that might be happening? I mean, we're in a really crazy situation right now.
Yeah, Rachel. Well, you and I have talked before about the going from energy independent to energy dependent on Iranian oil, dependent on Venezuelan oil, and how that sort of makes us dependent on this Arabian Peninsula for energy, which is so important to fueling our economy. This Iranian attack emboldens the Shia militia groups in Hezbollah and Hamas and the West Bank. The Houthis, those that are attacking our soldiers in Syria and Iraq. And so it's seen as, Big Daddy is coming in and saying, look at us, we're doing this, so follow suit. And we're already seeing some riots in the West Bank and so forth. So, it is a tinderbox, and the utter incompetence of the Biden administration, the worst Secretary of State we've ever had in the history of our country, Antony Blinken. I don't know who he talks to because he hasn't done any diplomacy, and this is when we need that. We need to be talking to our allies and partners in the region, the Saudis, the Emiratis, and all the others, so that we can find a way forward and keep Israel as our greatest ally in the region.
General Anthony Tata, great insight as always. Thank you for joining us on this evening.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.